Okay. Welcome to the earliest window chats of Robyn. I am hoping my audio works. We will find out. But today we have Jen. Hi. Oh, hey. Can you guys hear me? Can I get like a thumbs up and then I'll invite you to join? I'm trying to be fancy with my ears. Is it working? I don't know. Okay, I'm just going to assume. Oh, thank you. Okay, cool. I'm going to invite Jen. It's happening. Go live. Huh? Oh, another. Oh, yeah, there's a delay. Of course.
Hey,
Hi. You're going to be the person, not the interviewer today. Is that weird for you?
right? I'm the opposite today. And I
Yeah.
only left my kid up for once today, Usually I try to let him sleep in. It's like he knew I was coming on your live. He's like, no, I have to get up, Mom.
Yeah. We have to make it difficult, of course.
Yeah, so if my 4-year-old pops in, you know ahead of time.
We welcome any guests of any kind, so it's all good.
That's why I have this.
I love that. It's the infamous. Okay, if anyone on watching my live doesn't know, Jen does her own coffee chats, and the sip happens is the cutest cup I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That is like, you know, when you get a good gift and you're like, this gift will be in everything.
Yeah.
That's that. Yeah. Or you bought it yourself. What am I saying? Okay.
My sister-in-law got me this, actually.
Shout out to that. Okay.
Yeah. But I have somebody actually making up my own version of this mug for my coffee chat guests. So
And then you sound like you are the best business person. Okay. So for those of you that don't know, we have never spoken. This is actually so exciting for me because I'm like, you were so willing to do this and you are just one of the coolest people. I was like, you sent me your bio and I'm looking at your feed and you're just like, I do everything. So I don't know how much. I know this goes on for 4 hours like you told me. Not going to do that to people. I also know I might be having a fire drill, hence the headphones.
Right.
So we'll see how we do with sound. But like, I have so much I want to chat with you about because like your life is fascinating.
Yes.
I just don't know where to start.
I think it's because the thing that I had set out to do in high school ended up not happening. So for those of you who know me really well, I spent my late elementary school years and then all of high school wanting to be a neonatal surgeon, which is the surgeons that go in and they work on the babies inside the mommy's tummies. Right? So it happens and I got pregnant at 19, had a baby at 20, and then I didn't end up going to school, but I did end up taking the cake decorating course at Michael's, and then it turned into a career. So it went from a hobby to a career because people started asking me to do stuff, and I said, okay, I'm going to open a business at 20. So I went from trying to be a surgeon to opening my own company at 20. And then because I had to learn all this stuff for my own company, then I opened a second company at 26, then teaching people the main form of marketing that I used to grow my business. So I developed 2 online courses, one teaching cake decorating, one teaching email marketing and sales funnels to teach people what I knew. And they're still actually up on my website. So
Your website is nuts. Not like you have inspired me. I went on your website and you have your coffee chats. Like, here's everyone's bio. Here's their links. Here's the podcast. I'm like, oh my God, I have to step up my game. Like, there was so much. It was just, I'm like, you just know how to do things. Ooh, we have a guest.
Yeah, it's my son. It's just because I had to learn it on my own. Yeah. Ty, do you want to say hi?
Hi.
He doesn't want to say hi. Okay. He just
woke up. I'm not good with it. I get it.
Yeah, so I had to learn on my own. So, and then because you learn on your own, you do trial and error, and you figure out what works, what doesn't work, and you find a method that works for you, and then you can end up being able to teach it. But you don't up your game. Like, you don't really want to do as much as I'm doing right now.
I'm like, how are you doing? Like, and then you have like the podcast, the minute breakdown, and I'm like, oh my God, it's just so interesting. And like, I don't even know if I would have thought to do that. And like, I just like, you have such a mind for business that I'm like, even if you taught yourself, like, you can't teach some of the stuff that you're doing.
Some of it I've learned through other people. Like I've taken, who was his name? Sorry, James Wedmore's Business by Design course, who teaches online marketing for courses and like people who want to be digital marketers. So I've learned a lot of stuff from him. I've done Jim Fortin's coaching program, the Transformational Coaching. So that helps with like a lot of mindset stuff and developing behaviors and stuff for success. I've taken graphic design type stuff. Like, so I have taken courses from people, but when you take these courses, you also have to implement it into what you've learned yourself and try and figure out your own pattern, because just because you're learning a course from somebody doesn't mean that their exact method's going to work for you. So I always take, like I go into courses and stuff, even ones that don't necessarily apply to me, I go in with an open mind going, okay, how could this work for me? Even if it doesn't fully 100% talk about stuff that I'm doing in my life, how could this specifically work for me? How could I pull something from this that I can add in here? But the podcast that you mentioned, it's actually really simple to do, because all I'm doing is separating the video from the audio, and then I added an intro. And it was only because not everybody can be on Instagram Live here, and it gives people another format than to listen to these lives. So, yeah.
I just thought it was really clever. I'm just so impressed with you as I'm like looking at it. And then, I don't know, you seem to do it like you had this whole fitness thing. And I'm like, this girl is so fun. Like you just put it out there. There was like a fitness video, like epic fail of like I'm like, I love this. It's just so honest. And so like that is exactly how I feel every time I watch a video. I was doing one the other day, and it's like, I don't know if you ever heard of fly, like wildfly or some kind of firefly.
Okay,
And
yeah.
you essentially bring your shoulders under your knee and float on your hands.
Right.
And I'm looking and I'm like, okay, I don't even know how to modify that. Like that would have been a fun video if I had the courage to put it out there. Because I'm like, no.
Well, I feel like I want to show the whole journey when I'm doing fitness stuff, because so many people just show the ending. And
Oh yeah, that's what
when you're
when
learning,
I finally learn it.
I find it's a comedic relief showing somebody that I'm failing at this, and then eventually showing them I got it. Like you can do this too. That's the same thing that happened with my chin-ups. Like I could not do chin-up for the life of me, and I kept trying and trying and trying, and now I'm up to 5. So like my goal is 10, right? But showing people the journey, I think helps connect with people, because you're a human, right? Because so many people influencer mindset where all you see is perfection on their profiles, and it can get really annoying and discouraging, and you don't feel like you're connecting with this person because they seem so bloody perfect. And when you show all sides of it, it's like, okay, this is a human being I can connect with. So I feel like more people need to approach marketing that way and stop being so afraid of the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, or the fear of trying to be perfect. Like, hello, my son just yelled on freaking live.
That's going to be an epic one. That's a first for me, so that's cool.
And it's a normal thing right now, because there's so many moms at home in pandemics trying to do Instagram lives. Well, hey, well, cool. Like now you can pull from this and see that it's completely okay if your kid yells, you'll survive. So
it's ruined. We have to start again.
No.
Part 2.
Robyn. But yeah, so that's why I've been showing my fitness journey, and a lot of it is so like the majority of my life too, I was a twig. So I'm trying to show the opposite side now, where now I've had multiple pregnancies, and now I'm not fat, but I'm not a twig anymore, and I'm trying to get fit for roles. So I'm trying to show people that it's completely okay to be like this. It's completely okay to work out. It's completely okay if you are thin, if you are fat, but just be comfortable with being you. And when you're comfortable with showing yourself, even working out, that shows that you have confidence in yourself, that you don't care if people are looking at your body, that you're confident enough to put it out there. So,
but I think that's what the industry, like in terms of film, TV, commercials, even they want real, right? So, and that's also kind of a nice shift too. It's not like, okay, we need the perfection. I saw one the other day and it made me laugh. And this is like, okay, I can fit. It's like we want someone that works out but doesn't look like they work out. I'm like, that's me. Right? That's why I don't want that. Like, I'm not getting the 6-pack for those roles. Like, It just makes me laugh. I love those descriptions so much. Someone that like goes to the gym but doesn't look it. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Like,
I'm training for that.
right? Yeah, I feel like the industry's getting more inclusive, where it used to be you had to fit into that twig but still have curves things. Like, do you understand that those curves are from body or plastic surgery? Right? So I feel like we've really made progress in the entertainment industry where they're now looking for all different types of body types, all different types of races, making sure that they, like, I was so excited back at Christmas where they had an LGBTQ romantic comedy with Scott Evans.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, hi, like, thank you. Like, be more inclusive, bring these things in, show real society, because that's when you get really people connecting and be like, that I can see myself in this, or I can see myself in that. And then you build a bigger audience and you connect with people and you show people that this is okay, that this is the new societal norm, right? So, yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's more and more of those things popping up. And I feel like actors get a bad rap too. Like when you say you're an actor, some of it say it like quietly because actors are act, right? And I want, like, I've been preaching about this the past couple lives, that just because somebody's an actor doesn't mean they're only an actor, right?
I don't think you can only be an actor. Like,
and actors do a lot of good by helping move society into the new norms, right? They help push those uncomfortable conversations and they get it out there and they help progress society. I feel like artists are very good at doing those types of things. So I feel for the ones that constantly get the comments like, stick to acting. It's like, no, they're not just an actor. Like, they have beliefs and opinions and other things behind the scene that you don't even know about.
well, that's why I love when like someone that's an actor takes on more roles. And I know for me, like I'm like, oh wait, I can do more than act. Like I can write my own stuff and like produce and and I find that's such an empowering moment, but it's also like, okay, what can I bring to the table more than just like I learn my lines and I have my thoughts for my character. I love collaborating, right? It's that collaboration that makes something, you see these projects and you're like, okay, they worked well together or they didn't. It's noticeable sometimes. So like if you're going to put the work in, yeah.
Yeah. Even the things that you have to learn sometimes for the roles, right, too. Like, if you don't know, if you're trying to portray a certain character and you don't know how this person does this, you have to go and do the research and participate in it. So, and you learn tons of stuff sometimes participating in these roles that you wouldn't have known before, right? So it's an avenue to get additional education. So, yeah.
I love like when you have something that's so well written. I like my comedies, but I love when comedy gets across such strong messages. And again, like my Netflix binging is healthy, but I was watching Superstore. Have you ever seen that?
Okay. No.
And it's just like, it's this sitcom, whatever TV series. And they just tackled so many issues, but they brought the comedic side to it. And for me, I find sometimes comedy is so much more powerful to get across a message that you're like, this is ridiculous. They were tackling like healthcare and the divide, the inequality. And I thought this was so well done. And again, I don't even know how much change it'll implement, but just getting that awareness, increasing that awareness about certain things. I'm like, this is great. I'd love to create things, like keep creating things and getting those messages out. It's so hard for me. Like, I don't know. It's like, we're all one person, but I'm like, I just want to do it. I want to figure it out. Also, when you hear the fire alarm, is that audible for you?
I can't hear it, no. I can hear my son in his
We have a lot of background noise going on.
Right?
It's cool. Yeah.
We're just with it. It's Monday morning. It's bound to happen. Murphy's Law, right?
I love this 9 a.m. By the way, I woke up and I'm like, okay, whatever. I wanted to add a filter. I'm like, no, Robyn, let's be real today. And as you can see, the hair was a struggle, but I'm like, this is nice. You wake up, it's not too sunny, so my lighting's not affected. And it's like, okay, we just do our morning chats. People are on their walk to work I was like, when I say walk, like they're getting up from bed and walking to their desk kind of thing. But it's, I'm like, I like an early riser. And I find a lot of my actor friends are like, okay, we'll do it in the afternoon. And I'm like, let's wake up. Let's do it.
The full-on confession, I like doing 9 a.m. because usually, at least the past 4 times I've done lives, I can get him to sleep in and then I can talk to people, right? And so far it's going okay, right? Knock on wood. But that's why I do 9 a.m. because of my 4-year-old. If I can get him to sleep in until I'm doing my live. And it usually works, but yeah, I think he sensed that I was trying to get him to sleep and it just didn't work this morning. But yeah, I like 9 a.m. because then it's done and it's over and you got to talk to some awesome people and you can go with your day.
Yeah. So you have 5 kids, right? That's insane.
Yeah.
I find that, like, again, I don't have any kids, but my niece, when they were learning sleep training, like that concept to me is fascinating because I don't remember being sleep trained.
Yeah.
Is that the term? I don't know, but the thought of like someone needing to teach you how to sleep, like do you have different, like, were there different methods for your kids or just like, okay, we establish a routine, figure it out? I don't know.
I don't know if it did necessarily sleep training. I think eventually they kicked in and they learned it, right? Like I find like all babies seem to have day and night confused when they're first born. But eventually they get the rhythm of it. Ty's taken a bit longer. But we're slowly getting there to the full sleep normal schedule. But like my other ones were like full on through the night sleepers by like 3 months. Ty sleeps through the night. It's just sometimes he doesn't want to participate in bedtime, which is fun.
What is that? How do you participate in bedtime?
I don't want to go to bed. And then you try to like put him to bed, he rolls and he kicks and he won't fall asleep. So then you end up having like to like get him back up and wear him out some more, right? Like some nights like that, and then other nights it's like, Mom, I'm tired, I want to go to bed, right? So it's like hit and miss at his age right now. And eventually he'll get the full thing and it'll work out fine because like we all grew up and we eventually figured out how to sleep properly and through the night and our schedules and stuff. So I'm not worried about it.
No, your attitude is so positive. I love it. I find what's so interesting, like what's so difficult to get a kid to do. I'm like, yeah, I want to sleep. Like, there's no issue there. But I got adult stuff to do. So
it's funny the different ages because I can't get my teenager to wake up and I can't get my toddler to go to sleep.
But like, it's so funny. And even as a kid, I don't know if you felt this way, but I felt like so much is happening when I go to sleep. So I have to stay up because I don't want to miss anything. And now I'm up and I'm like, nothing's going on. Like, what was I thinking was happening? I
feel now, like when I can't go to sleep because I feel like there's so much going on, I have to brain dump. Do you ever do that? Whereas like you just have to get up and like write everything on your brain down because you're afraid you're going to forget something. Yeah. And then I can go to sleep. Like it seems like after I write that list, I can go to bed.
And then it's like, but then do you wake up and you read it and you're like, what? What did I write? I try and write sketches sometimes. I'm like, I don't know. What's the funny part? I'm like like the character. I'm like, no, I don't know what that was. Okay.
Are you really found that you were having that? You're like, oh, that's so good. And then you wake up, it's like, okay, I forget what I meant by that.
Or like autocorrect. Sometimes I put it in on my phone. I'm like, what? That's not even a word. And then it's just I need to dictate, but I don't want to like wake up my husband. Like I'd be talking thought of the day at 2 a.m.
Like, do you ever get that where you're like, you say it so good in your head and then you try and put it down on paper. It's like, how do I do it up here, but I can't do it there?
It's actually like I can't, sometimes I'm like, this idea is amazing. And then I try and create it and I'm like, this is great. And then I try to explain it to people that like, I don't understand it. And then I put it out there and it's like, that wasn't very funny. And I'm like, I swear at one point it was funny. There was a point where I was laughing.
Yeah. There's like often times where I'm having like this amazing speech in my head of this inspirational monologue. And then like I go and try and write it down. It's like, no, that's not the same. It's not.
I find that so interesting too. It's like, because you feel like sometimes when I think like you feel those emotions and you feel like that
Yeah.
powerful inspiration and you're like, well, I don't, it's just not translating. And I'm like, huh,
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. I'm trying to do what they call like a theme Instagram, where I'm trying to inspire people, because I've had this like huge journey. I'm constantly trying to like think of things in my head that I could use to inspire people. And that's why I was saying I would bring up like the speech sounds so good in my head, and then I go and I write it down. It's like, and then I'm
So
like,
like, what is the speech for? Like, you want to do like like a monologue competition, or what is it?
yeah, like you're sitting there thinking about something, like a topic came up that you're like, oh my gosh, I should like totally talk to like somebody, and then you're like thinking about it in your head, and you're like, I don't know, it's like going so well, and just like you're hitting the marks, and all these words are coming out properly in your head, and then you go and you try and write out the same thing that you just said to yourself inside your head, and then it's like, I was missing a word there, that's not hitting right anymore, but I just have to figure out how to say it properly and get it out there, right?
I feel like you could, I don't know if you, like, I saved my bits and
Yeah.
then what I thought I wanted it for, I end up using it for something completely different. And I'm like, oh, that
Yeah.
was, that was interesting cross little, okay.
Yeah.
That was a comedy. It is now dramatic.
Right?
Weird.
Yeah, I'm not like a huge writer too, right? So, writer, right? Yeah, that was like totally like not proper grammar. um, but I'm trying, because I'm trying to do like a monologue series. I don't know why, but every time I go on lives, I start to say like a lot. Please smack me when
Oh.
I've gone back to grade 8 and I've said like,
Um,
like. Maybe it's like a thing. I don't know. Um, but I've been trying to write more, and I've been trying to do this like monologue series. I just did it again. I've been trying to do this monologue series.
this is
To
a
put
no
my,
judgment zone. Okay. This is like, it's 9 a.m. I've got a fire alarm. You've got a kid. Like, stuff is happening. We're still not awake. It's fine.
I'm trying to work on my public speaking though, so that's why I'm trying to catch myself when I'm doing this. It's like, don't do that. Don't do that.
I mean, I feel like we have to preach being kinder to ourselves. So yeah.
So
You're
been
so funny.
I'm catching myself, like, I'm doing with her too. Why am I doing this? Why am I nervous?
It's not even sometimes I do that too. I caught myself the other day and I think I don't even think I formulated a sentence. I think all I said was just like 10 likes and a word. I don't think it was comprehensible. Which
Yeah. It's just funny what comes out on video that doesn't come out in real life. Because in real life, I don't even say that word, because I erased it from my vocabulary, and then I go on video and then it starts to come out for some reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a practice thing.
Look, I'm not saying I'm unimpressed, but like, like,
Right? I've been trying, you know, like Udemy, like the courses Udemy.
I do not. I thought you were calling me a dummy and I was a little insulted and I got over it very quickly.
Udemy, Udemy, Udemy. So they had like this big sale back at Christmas time, and I bought a whole bunch of courses. One of them's on storytelling, one of them's on public speaking. So that's why I'm saying I'm trying to work on my public speaking and my storytelling capabilities, because I feel that not only it's going to help me with this type of stuff, but it also helps with acting, because when you become a better storyteller, better at speaking, more confident in your body language and everything, then it really helps in your career too. So these courses went on sale back at Christmas for like $14.99, which was amazing. So they had like full acting courses, they had singing courses, like they do all ends of the spectrum. They have videography, they have programming. Like, if you're trying to find a course, go there. Yeah.
I will. CENY.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
real. I'm like, I normally write my notes on my phone, but then I'd leave the live. So, remember
right?
paper and pen? No, I clearly don't.
I did last week when Darren D'Souza came on my live. I had pen and paper.
I saw, were you singing last week? I'm like, I saw a clip. I'm like, this is adorable. Okay.
Yeah, all of a sudden he's like, I have a piano here. I'm going to take you through a drill. I'm like, okay. But it worked out okay.
Yeah, you weren't bad. I'm like, are you a singer or are you just like bold? I didn't know. I'm like, you sounded pretty good.
I sang in high school, and I sing sometimes casually for myself and my kids, and sometimes they tell me to shh. But professionally, no. So it was actually fun, and I liked it. I've been trying to get more back into music because in high school, I did sing in choirs all through high school. I did musicals in elementary school. I also played alto saxophone, and I played piano. So, yeah.
That's a fun resume you have. That's just, and like the special skills section must be incredible.
Well, I can't, like, I probably, if you gave me an alto saxophone, I could probably figure it out again. I feel like it's like riding a bike, where when you've done something, you can eventually figure it out again. Piano's the one I tend to play more. I don't do it often lately, but I'm trying to get back into playing piano because I feel it'd be fun to put some singing and some music videos up in my profile for like a change of scenery. So I'm trying to figure that out. I put some fails up there if anybody wants to laugh at me. There's some fails in singing on my profile right now.
But I feel like they're laughing with you because you're posting it, right? So you're like, this is me trying, right? And that's the thing, like I used to think it was a failure, and now I'm like, you know what? I don't think it's a failure because at least I'm trying. Yeah. That's what I have to tell myself.
Yeah, I was laughing at myself because the first take I ended up eating my hair, and so I added that sentence into and I am eating my hair. And then the one take I ran out of air halfway through the phrase, so that was fun. But it's just that, and I'm laughing at myself as I'm doing this, and I figure it'll give other people a laugh if I'm laughing at myself, so I put them up. And I don't worry about it. So then that comes with being comfortable with yourself, and that comes with showing all ends of the spectrum, as we were saying in the beginning of this live, being comfortable with yourself, showing your fails, showing your journey, because then you can connect with people more. And you might help somebody. You don't know who you're helping when you put this stuff up, and they're like, I can relate to that. So
yeah, that's actually the most interesting thing too, when it's like, oh, someone related to this and it spoke to them. I thought, I wasn't even going to post this, so cool.
Yeah, and it surprises you sometimes who you're impacting, because sometimes I get messages and they're like, thank you so much for putting that up. That really resonated with me. I really needed to hear that today. And I'm like, yes! Because that's my goal. And my goal, no matter what I do in life, is to leave this planet better than I found it. So even if I'm helping one person, then I'm accomplishing my goal. So,
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you've accomplished your goal. That's, I mean, like you're done now. So
I'm not done. No, there's more. Robyn,
I'm joking.
She's like, she's done now. Just go.
So, like, I guess I don't know what else.
It's like there's nothing else to talk about now. Jen impacted somebody. She needs to get off.
Yeah, I'm like pretty sure we know.
Oh, that's awesome. This is so weird being on this end because I can't see any of.
You're doing great. Okay. Oh, you can't see the comments. You got a lot of waves. And there were some. I would scroll back. I didn't want to interrupt you. I'm still learning how to host this stuff. But there was some shout outs, but I don't want to scroll. Okay. Yeah.
Sure, but yeah, hi.
That's interesting. I didn't know you can't see the comments. That's okay.
You used to be able to see the comments on this, and I don't know if maybe Instagram changed that.
I'm very new to this live format of
because everything. I can see comments when I'm watching your live. Like if I was on a guest.
Yeah.
But I can't see them when I'm guesting for some reason, so that's weird.
They're all terrible comments, and it's been very negative. And well, I never.
Right? Guys, I'm trying here.
I'm just like doing my best. Can I ask you? I don't know, like if this is a redundant question, and I apologize, but do you get this a lot? Like I think you had liked something before we connected, and I'm like, oh my God, Jennifer Gardiner liked my stuff. Like, why is she watching my stuff? Like, what? I don't even know what it was. And I'm like, do you get that all the time? Like when you come on set, people expect Jennifer Gardiner?
Yes, and I feel sometimes people don't follow me because they think I might be imitating her. It's like, no, I'm a completely different person. And although our names are similar, there is some differences. She's Jennifer Ann Garner. I'm Jennifer Ann Gardiner.
There you go. I thought, okay, I thought there was something different, but I wasn't sure, and that's just me being ignorant because I don't know how to spell last names of celebrities. I'm just like, oh yeah, Gardner, whatever. It's the same thing.
It's funny because depending on how you're pronouncing my name, it can sound like Garner, right? Because sometimes people drop the eh. It's like, if I'm going really fast, it's like, I'm Jennifer Gardner, right? And you miss the DI in there. And then people are like, oh, like the actress? Like, well, I am an actress, but I'm not that actress. And Google sometimes gets us confused. I finally have my own Google box, which is really cool. Google stopped confusing me to that point. But even when you Google my name, her stuff comes up too. So...
I mean, I wonder though, like that could be a benefit. I'm worried that someone else is going to have like a similar Robyn Deverett name, but in the bad way. So be like, oh, we're not going to hire her. It's that girl. I'm like,
it's a blessing and a curse at the same time because I'm trying to build my own online presence, and I've been doing pretty well. I have my own right now, but in the images category, in some of the press, her stuff is still coming up, which then confuses people when I'm trying to get verified. They're like, no, we can't verify you because you don't have enough stuff on your own, because my stuff gets mixed in with hers and gets thrown on like page 4 or 5 instead of page 1 or 2. So it's a work in progress, but it is funny because at the beginning when I used to have it as the official Jennifer Garner for my profile. I had to change my name because I kept getting tagged in her stuff. So like there was a news thing where Jennifer Garner was pregnant. It's like, that's not me. Don't tag me in that. It's like, I'm done having babies.
That's so, I find that so interesting though, because I mean, like your name, and I always, the one thing I think about when someone's having a baby is like, what name will you give them? Mm-hmm. And I don't know why, for me, that's one of the most important decisions, like what you name your child, because of this. No, because it's kind of an identity in a way. And I'm like, Robyn with a Y was a little traumatic. The spelling, when I was a kid, it was upsetting for me.
Yeah. I kill spider apparently for my toddler.
Oh, gross. A live killing of a spider? Oh man, guys, anything can happen.
Okay. Okay, I got him.
Like nervous.
It confuses people too, and they may think I'm imitating her because we're also both brunettes. We're not the same age, but she looks so bloody young that. Yeah, so when I'm trying to grow my profile, I feel like sometimes people don't follow me because they think I'm imitating her. I promise I'm not. It's actually my name. It's my married name. I'm actually a Scot.
Oh. So that's okay, well, I'm going to tell my husband to not watch this because I haven't legally changed my name. Because I'm like, no, this is my name. It's like the one female empowerment moment I had. But no, I actually just got
debated. But like, I haven't, like, it's not technically changing your name as much as assuming somebody else's last name. So I can assume my husband's last name without changing my name. So like my legal name is still Jennifer Ann Scott, but I can use Jennifer Gardner. So my birth certificate still says Jennifer Ann Scott, even though I'm Jennifer Ann Gardner on my license and everything right now, because you can assume somebody's last name in Canada without actually changing it. Even if you weren't married and say your kid had a different last name because you weren't with that person anymore, you can assume your child's last name without changing your name. Yeah. So I debated going back to Scott for acting just to maybe get rid of some of the confusion, but then I saw there's also a lot of Jennifer Scotts in acting too. Like, I'm gonna get it either way. So, but I'm known more for Jennifer Gardner right now anyways, or Jen Gardner on all my acting stuff, so I figured it might just be a pain in the ass to change it right now, so I'm just gonna leave it.
Well, I mean, I think it's still a good name. Like, I'm not just like, it's a cool. I'm like, also, is there like a highway named after you? There's a lot of options.
Great. Yeah, the Gardiner Expressway. Yeah, that always backs up and like makes me late for stuff. Yeah, thanks Expressway. I was like, if we have the same name, just be nice to me.
I think so. That's how I feel about all my fellow Robyn birds. I'm like, hey, get out of my way. Like, power. That was a weird comment. Okay.
watching.
Do you?
I
I've
feel
learned to like it. I have. I'm in a class on Zoom, and this is like the most ridiculous thing. There's two Robyns. And
Mhm.
the problem with Zoom is you don't know who you're looking at or who you're talking to. So I'm actually Robyn with a Y, and the other girl is Robyn with an I. And
Okay.
I'm like, this is interesting. It just
Mhm.
takes so much longer to say. And I'm like, huh, this is, don't remember ever being called Robyn with a Y, but
Yeah.
I
But
accept.
it's different, and it lets you stand out. Like you're not shoved into this little
Curvy
box
Y.
eyes, right? Yeah, you can like do fancy stuff with it in your signature. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Right?
My penmanship leaves something to be desired. Uh, whereas like, let's not have Robyn write anything and let's just type. That's fine.
Yes. Yes. I feel like you could really do some stuff with your name and really stand out and have all these people when you're famous analyzing your signatures like, what is she trying to say here?
Have you practiced your signature as like when you become like a huge celebrity? Have you figured it out? Because I have no idea. And I also wonder if I have like if I write my signature and all these things, will people use that and like sign for big purchases? You know, like will
Right?
they I'm legitimately worried about that. So that's why I'm like, okay, what will my scribble be? That like that's my
Yeah.
signature scribble.
So the first part of that I haven't thought about, but the second part with people stealing my signature, yes, I have. So at one point I was going to put my actual signature up on my website, and then I decided to use a font similar to my signature instead, and it's got like a J line across the top, and I don't put that in my real signature. So it's slightly different, but it has the same feel because I was worried, as you said, of somebody like taking my signature and going and doing naughty things with it.
Well, I thought you signed that, and I'm like, that, again, that's like her website is cool. Everyone, check it out. It's very cool. Uh, I like talking like this in case they couldn't hear me before. I'm emphasizing a point. Uh,
My website is very it's like a Jill of all trades.
that's what I love, and I love that you called yourself Jill of all trades. That's awesome. That's very progressive. But it's just so fun because it's like, you know, when someone says, this is probably the worst question anyone could ask me is tell me about yourself or
Yeah.
describe yourself. I'm like, I don't know. It depends on the day. Like,
Mm-hmm.
go to these websites. I don't know.
If they teach you in marketing, you should go down one tunnel and focus on one thing and have your site focused on one thing. And I didn't want to manage 5 sites, so I tried to figure out a way where I can combine everything onto one. And I think I'm so far doing this okay. But yeah, you just because somebody says something is another good point doesn't mean you have to do it that way because that's their belief and their opinion on what they learned. And if we didn't have people that changed their opinions and changed the ways of doing things, then we wouldn't be progressing in your life. So,
I mean, easier said than done. I joke that I'm the like so easily influenced that it's
mm-hmm.
a little painful sometimes that I'm like,
Yeah,
I'll watch something or again, I used to like take classes and then like for my
yeah,
physio practice, I would just change my practice. I'm like, this is the only way to do it. And then you take a step back as you like go on in your practice. You're like, okay, let's take little tidbits from
yeah,
everything and figure out what I want to do as a
yeah,
practitioner or like as an actor or something. And I thought
yeah.
that
I
seems
feel Yeah, when you get
healthier.
into stuff like this, I feel sometimes you have to take what people are saying and then put your own spin on it to make it work
Yeah.
for you. Instead of just taking what they're exactly saying because it might be working for them and it might work for other people. But if you're doing their technique and you're finding it's not working for you, then you need to adapt it. And you don't need to beat yourself up that that's not working for you because not every single method works for every single person. That's why there's different methods.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
hard though, because when I watch these things or I read these things, the people that are, you know, like dictating or who wrote it, whatever, and they're so passionate,
Mhm.
right? So they're just like preaching this, and I'm like, oh my God, you have such, it's such knowledge in one area and just such, they're so convincing that I'm like, huh, I should completely change my life. This is good stuff. Like, I should be doing this. I'm like, maybe not.
Yeah. And a lot what they don't tell you when they're preaching you that stuff is how the brain works. So when you are
It's
learning
too,
something new, your reptilian brain, you don't have a reptile brain, that's just what it's called. The oldest part of your brain is called the reptilian part of your brain, okay? So for those of you listening,
Really
that's the part
classic
of your
check.
brain that controls your habits and what you're doing on a daily basis. Whether or not you're driving to work and you're on autopilot, that's your reptilian brain pulling that stuff out. If you are a smoker or a non-smoker, that's where that's coming from. And your reptilian brain can't tell the difference between a good habit and a bad habit. So when you're trying to change something in your real life, it's going to keep giving you urges to do your old habit. When you're trying to progress to something better, your brain doesn't know the difference that this is a newer, better habit. So it's going to keep giving you that urge to do that old habit, and you're going to have to keep dismissing, acknowledge and dismiss. Don't ignore, because when you ignore it, you're just going to keep getting an urge. Acknowledge that you've got that urge and dismiss it, and then move to the better habit. And it's going to take at least 10 times before your brain starts to form a neural pathway to create that new habit. And because the old habit's bigger and has been there longer and the pathway's more secure, you can't do that old habit anymore. Otherwise, you're going to get triggered to go back to it again. So you have to now just do the new habit. And it's going to take about 30 days before your brain finally kicks in and goes, okay, this is the new habit that I have to keep acknowledging you to do or urging you to do. So it's all good when they're preaching and you're like, I need to do this, but then we're trying to do it at an analytical level, and we have to think of it as a how does the brain work level.
Yeah. So Sarge was saying he has a bad reptilian brain. That's funny.
Hey, Kev, how are you?
Oh, I didn't know. There's like a really long name. I apologize. I'm like, I'm just going to go with the first part of that name.
He's really nice guy. And
you seem to have a lot of nice followers, but I'm like, everyone's so supportive. What a nice environment you've cultivated.
And I don't want to call them followers. I have a lot of nice people that I get to connect with.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually a nice way to phrase it. Yeah.
You're my people. But I just wanted to put that out there because you were saying like you want to do all these things, and I feel that some people don't realize that they're not failing because they can't do this. They're failing because they don't understand how the brain necessarily works on new habit formation. And I feel that if that information was out there more, then people could be more successful because they then could implement these habits and all these things that people are preaching at them a lot better. So,
but it's so funny though. Like I love that. First off, I love that you're taking like every course in existence. You're like, yeah, I'm taking a Harvard Medical School course, whatever. And like, you're just throwing it in there. I'm like, okay, what else is this girl not doing right now? Just amazing. But it's the brain is fascinating. And I remember like holding a human brain when we were dissecting it. And it's like all these little nerves. And if something goes wrong, like it's doing so much. And it's just so fascinating when someone's even having to relearn to walk again. Right? Like those basic skills, or when I think I find children so interesting because I didn't know that kids can't blow their own nose. I had no idea. Like, why would I know that? I don't remember not being able to blow. Right? I'm like just learning these skills, and I'm watching my nieces. I'm like, what? That is weird. But it's so fascinating how we learn and how we develop but it's those habits that we had. How do we change them? And I love that. I love that there's people that are like, okay, so this habit isn't working. How do we change it? Because honestly, I hate change, but it is sometimes very necessary. So it's just like when you think about it from a different perspective versus like, oh my gosh, I'm the worst person ever. Why can't I change? It's like, okay, well, there's actually a scientific reason behind it. So be kinder to yourself. Yeah.
It's not you, because you're trying to approach this at an analytical level where I'm like, I want to change that habit, but you're failing to go into the actual habit formation and training part of your brain. Yeah, and you have to do that at a subconscious level. And there's ways of doing that. If you're looking for one way of doing that, look at 7-Eleven breathing, self-hypnosis. It's not as scary as it sounds. You're not actually going to go into a hypnotic state. It's literally just relaxing your body and your brain enough to reprogram it, because you have to get into your subconscious level so it actually sinks in. Because when you try and do an analytical level, it doesn't sink into this part of the brain. So you have to imply some form of relaxation to get into your subconscious level. And if you want more training on this, I'm not an expert on this because I've been learning this myself the past year. Look up Jim Fortin. Jim Fortin and NLP training. He has a podcast.
I'm wondering why. I'm like, this name sounds so familiar. I'm like, what research articles or something I must have read on? Like, I don't know why I know this name. I'm going to look it up after. Oh, he is? Okay. I can't. I'm like, this name is so familiar.
So you might have seen me mention him in my stuff. But I took his transformational coaching program, and that's where I learned all this stuff. So I highly recommend. He's got a free podcast if you don't have money to spend right now. So I would really check him out if you're looking at reprogramming your brain, forming a new habit.
I mean, I just like to talk to other people and then just like listen to what they said and implement that in myself. So that's
right.
my cheap way of redoing my brain.
Yes, Pop-Ups. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I'm invested. I have my cheers.
Okay, buddy. Sorry, I have to talk to Alexa right now. Alexa, find Galactus Robot live event on YouTube. Okay, now I'm good. Sorry.
That was the coolest, like, I'm a mom in the future moment. I'm talking to a machine that's going to do something for me.
Yeah.
I sometimes look around my place and I'm like, look at all this technology.
Yeah, exactly.
I get very weird like that, where I'm like, okay, how did they do any of this back then? And like, again, there's so much, like, this pandemic is terrible, but I'm like, the thing, we like go online and we just order food. And then like we have our, like, even the simple thing of a refrigerator, like what would they have done back? I get really like, like, this is fascinating. We have all this, like, people delivering stuff and we can connect and like do these talks even, right? Like we have all this technology at our hands, but I mean, this is still like a really traumatic time for a lot of people, but I just find the advances in technology.
Yeah. Like if this had happened when we were kids, we wouldn't be able to connect like. And that it's funny because that wasn't that long ago that we were kids, even though we will joke and tell everyone that we were getting old. But that wasn't that long ago that we were kids and we couldn't do this. This technology has really come up in the past, 10, 15 years?
I was talking about a VCR the other day. Okay. So I'm going from VCR to DVD was a huge step. I wasn't ready for that. I'm like, I have to buy all my new little Disney stuff? No way. And then like you get the first, I was talking about my first DVD was like True Lies or something. And you're like, whoa, this is cool. That's good. But like DVD and then Blu-ray. And now we're like, oh, we don't even need, it's on a platform. You don't even need a machine. Just get an internet connection. Like,
yeah. And the internet is I feel again, this is like a blessing and a curse because the internet can be so helpful when you're using it in the right way, but it can it's so detrimental to people if you're using it in the so I feel that this is great that we can connect with people, but at the same time, I feel like sometimes it's hurting people and they need you to step away from it. Yeah. Depending on who you are and how you're using it. So
I feel like it also just depends on my mood. Like if I'm, in a negative state and then you go online and you just get in like a negative spiral of like, oh, look what everyone else is doing, kind of social media thing. Like, why am I not doing more? And then like, well, that was.
Or the people who hate follow people, like, because they like, I need to follow this person because I feel like I'm in competition with this person, but like I hate anything. Why are they so perfect? And you just get so mad. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do actually. And then I mute. I don't unfollow anymore. I've grown as a person. I mute. But then I'm like, you know what, Robyn, just don't go online. And I'm like, okay. Yeah.
I feel like because perturbed at this and I go, why am I feeling this way towards this person? Like what is in me right now? What's causing me to compare myself to this person right now? And I feel like it's not necessarily them. Sometimes it's them. They're just a really infuriating person, but sometimes it's me and what do I need to work on so that I stay in my own lane and just compare myself to the person I was yesterday instead of comparing myself to other people. Yeah.
It's like, again, easier said than done, but very true. Like it's the mindset and all, like, I don't know. It's so fascinating. Like how you can, I like watching these people that have their life together. And I know no one has their life together, but I'm telling you, some people have their life together.
Version of their lives together.
They wake up, they're like, okay, today is going to be the best day ever. And it just is. Yeah. And I'm like, well done. Like I can say it. Implementing it. I don't know. I'm still like getting really annoyed by my hair right now. Like I'm like, there's a bump that is not fixing. It's the little things that bother me in life. So I need to figure that out.
That's a practice thing. I find some days I wake up, I'm like, I've got this, like, let's go. And then other days I get into the negative talk and I have to pull myself out of it. And that's part of being human. Yeah. You're not going to be motivated 100% of the time. So it's a daily practice thing. And you have to learn. Another thing that I learned from this Jim Fortin training is that you have to stop letting your external circumstances affect your internal world. And that is a huge practice thing. I am not there yet. Being an empath, being a Pisces, I take on other people's emotions. So that's the thing that I have to constantly work on, right? Like not letting what's happening around me affect me in here so that I can keep doing what I need to do that day. But that's a total, so I feel like that's like a Jedi mind moment, like down the road.
But it's, you know what's so interesting? And this is, I mean, I love doing self-tapes from home because I don't have to travel and I don't have to like spend 2 more hours getting in my head about an audition. So for me, this is like a lot healthier when I audition. Like, and then I can watch it too and be like, oh God, that would have been my audition. Okay, let's just work this a lot more. But I find what I would love about going to the room, not only like connecting with people in the waiting room, but seeing those people that are just there. They are like in this zone that I'm like, what is this zone? What is going on in your head? How do I get to where you are? Like those people are so fascinating. They have like, nothing's going to bother them. They know what they're there for. I'm like, oh my God, like so much. I keep saying like now and I hear it and I want to finish my sentence, but I also want to be like, stop saying like, cause you got in my head. But no, it's just that I'm fascinated by those people that can just not be affected by the external world. And I'm like, whoa, they get it.
And that's completely getting rid of fear of rejection. That's completely getting rid of fear of failure and understanding. It's a deeper level of understanding of yourself and other humans. And I'm not there yet, but it's definitely a thing that I am working on. And I feel my external circumstances affect me less, but they still affect me. So I am not there yet, but it's a work in progress, and we all have to have goals to work towards. So
yeah, there you go. We needed something else to do, right? Like I'm running out of Netflix, as I was talking about. So let's just, I guess I'll work on me. I don't know. That's what people are doing now. It's a new year, whatever.
Oh my God, I love it. Yeah, self-tapes. I've always had a preference over self-tapes because I like to see my audition, right?
I do too. I know. Because I want to know that, like, because I also like to keep them. And then I'm like, oh God. Well, I don't like to keep them. I feel like I should keep them and review them. So when I do my review and I'm like, oh, I understand why I didn't book that. But also like seeing how far I've come in a positive way. But it's also like, I don't know. And I guess you should be able to feel what you're portraying on camera. But for certain things where it's like this reaction, like I like the framing. I like to know my framing. I like to know where I can, like, where can I, like, that's what I'm not always certain of. And I feel silly asking that sometimes. But I think, I don't know about you, but I feel like if I go into, like, eventually when we're in person again, if we are, I would ask these questions. I'd be like, okay, so what's, like, where are you shooting me from? Because sometimes they just do like that scan and you're like, I wasn't standing still. I don't know.
So my teenager's currently crawling on the floor right now to walk past this video without actually being on the line.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. Come here. He's literally crawling on the floor to get past us.
I respect that. I do that all the time when my husband's in a meeting, just like crawling.
He didn't want to be in the video. Well, now you are.
I don't want to say you just went viral, but it might happen.
He's like, I didn't want to be in your video.
I get it.
Oh boy. See, there's like lots of kids in this video today, but usually I have none. So but
it's great.
I feel like I have Fridays.
You have, sorry, I'm trying not to cut you off because of the.
Instagram cuts one audio out. They need to work on that. I said I feel like I have better luck with Fridays than Mondays.
Well, that's where there's the whole like Garfield Gurr Mondays kind of mentality. I get it.
But I'm still working with the Monday here, so. even though it's
I
like a
mean,
total.
sorry, I keep cutting. Okay.
That's fine. I have nothing
Um,
important to say.
it's also the Canadian in me that feels the need to apologize. So
Right.
it's a process of, well, okay. Have you learned, I don't feel like I sound Canadian,
Mm-hmm.
but apparently sorry, I
Mm-hmm.
I keep trying to change the way I say that word because that it's about and sorry. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to like figure out how to say that so when it's in a tape, like
Yeah.
every other word sounds Canadian, but her sorry is very American. Well done.
Yeah. I get that. I bought a full accent training for actors to learn the standard American dialect. And yes, the sorry will always catch you. And I feel they purposely put it in to sides when they're asking for an American accent to catch the Canadians that haven't learned the standard American accent, because it is supposed to be sorry instead of sorry. It's like, but it's a bloody O. It's an O.
Very
One audition for somebody where it actually didn't need to be an American accent. I was just doing an audition on We Audition with a reader. And the minute I said about, they're like, oh, you're Canadian. I'm like, oh, my Canadian is showing. So
So look,
you have to make a conscious effort to pull in the American when you've been saying words like this for so long. And I feel like Canadians say these words properly with the proper O's, and that they're doing it wrong. Not to like discount any Americans.
I mean, I agree, but that's also because I hate change. So I'm sorry, more work. I'm working on everything. God,
Yeah.
no.
No, Robyn, it's sorry.
Oh my God, I did it. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. But then I get all comical. Like when I do an accent, it's like a whole, it's not just I'm changing and making it subtle. It's
Yeah.
I'm doing an accent. Like it's a whole thing. And you're like, oh God, no, next.
It's because there's so many American productions that shoot in Canada is the reason they want that American accent.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of the stuff that shoots in Canada doesn't actually air in Canada, it airs in the States.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing that. I love when I watch a movie or I've seen it being filmed or a movie, TV show, whatever. And I'm like, I know exactly where that was. And that's not where they say it was. I get very excited.
Exactly.
I like, because sometimes they don't manage to block everything out perfectly. I know that restaurant. I know that street. It's very fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Like The Handmaid's Tale was shot Cambridge and Toronto and Hamilton. And people don't know that.
They were shooting it, at a park across the street. So this was terrifying because, I mean, I'm assuming you've watched Handmaid's Tale.
Yes.
So I'm not fully caught up, but my husband and I were walking through the park and there was a very tall gentleman with a giant gun. And then you have like this little girl with the help. I don't know the different terms, but there was a guardian help or whatever. And so they're cowering next to this person with the gun. And they hadn't fully set up the shot yet. So it was hard to see if there was a camera. And at one point I thought, like, what do we, I don't know what. So it's just kind of interesting. I think there should have been a sign filming, or maybe we just went to the wrong entrance because the park is so open, but it was terrifying.
Yeah, I was in one episode of The Handmaid's Tale, but it was back when I first started acting, and it wasn't like anything special. I was just doing background. But
do not discount that. People, you hear stories, right? You're like,
right?
And then you get to see yourself on TV sometimes. Like, I'm in that. That's me. It's my eyes.
We had like the red hoods on, so you can see your face. But
yeah, I tried. You know what? I tried to give you something, but I'm sorry. Like, sorry. I'm sorry.
Robyn's gonna walk around the rest of the day trying to say sorry. It was we were on the stadium thing. We had all the hoods pulled, so you couldn't see our faces, but I knew where I was. I'm like, that's me. I'm like the third one from the top and in from the left. It was
Would you do background work though? Because I tried it once and I was actually told not to do it because then people will only see you as a background performer.
I did it when I first started acting to get experience on set.
Yeah.
I not to say I didn't have experience on set. I didn't have experience that way on set. I was used to live television because I had a monthly segment on Rogers. So that live TV, real life TV is completely different than shooting a fictional TV show. Yeah. So I wanted to get experience in that aspect of it, which I find extra work can help with, but it still doesn't give you the full experience when you have supporting and lead roles.
We were watching, again, everything kind of happens in this park across the street from me. They were filming Langdon. I don't know if that series came out yet. It's based on the Da Vinci Code lead character. So Tom Hanks played it, but now it's someone younger. And they were they had a green screen behind a statue so they could build up the Washington Monument in post. And the lead actor, this was I was fascinated by him because so much is going on around him. And he looks super dapper in this suit. And he is just, okay, whatever, action. And he's walking, he's making a call. And there are people, they're filming him, they're talking, they're taking pictures. He's just like in this scene to win it. And I thought, I need to see this scene. I need to see this show. This guy is amazing. I don't know, but I guess when you're, again, in that zone, but I just thought, I know they film stuff outside. I know they do. And I know you see pictures of them filming it. But when I'm watching it and when I see it that close and people can just not be distracted by everything, I am in awe. Because even like the short film, whatever films I've done, it's contained to an extent, not in a public place like that. So I'm very impressed with those kind of people.
Yeah, for sure. Because you can use the microwave. He's like trying to not make noise right now.
Oh, I apologize. You're doing great. I'm just not going to say sorry anymore. I'm just going to say I apologize. That's my...
Use the microwave. When Robyn's talking, they can't hear me. So
yeah, it's fine. There you go. That's why I'm ranting intentionally.
Yes. Yeah. So for those of you, I don't want to discount extra work because there's a lot of people who love it.
Yeah. No. And I was just curious because certain agents that I've had said you shouldn't do, and I understand that, right? You don't want to be seen. Like for me, I would prefer more principal work. Aim high, but I'll take any role. But
yeah,
the one-liner that you audition for, and you're like, I don't. This is one. Like it's not even that. It's I overthink the one line versus an actual character, and it's actually funny when I talk to people about my audition. About American, I don't even know, but they're so impressed with how much I've overthought it to a point where it wasn't healthy. To a point like, why were there so many props? It was a character choice. It was a bad one.
Yeah, totally do. Yeah, they do tell you not to do extra work if you're looking to do supporting and principal, because if you get seen as like a featured extra on a show, then you can get sort of, I want to use the word cast type, I don't know if that's correct. You can get put into a category where you're just an extra, and it'll be a lot harder for you to get supporting and principal roles. And I feel like I don't want to necessarily say that because then I'm like, this is my opinion, and then somebody's going to take this, and then they're going to think that this is exactly how it's going to be, when that might not necessarily be the case for some people because there's that exception to the rule. Yeah.
Well, it's hard too because you hear stories where, I think it was Handmaid's Tale, someone was an extra, a featured extra, and then she got a speaking role. So it's so hard to say which one. There's no right way. I think everyone has to figure out their own path. Yeah. But it's just it's. Again, there's so many, the social media and all these stories out there. So when people are more vocal, you tend to, sometimes I believe the loudest voice.
Right.
It is what it is, but yeah. Oh no, I thought, this is fun. Is this like a TikTok video? I'm learning that now.
I get my tripod. It's like on a swivel.
Oh yeah, I have one too. I would watch people do these lives and they would hold it. And then I get really dizzy watching them. And so I thought, okay, I need to mount this somehow. Yeah. And I just have to give you an amazing shout out. I think I'm on the ball. And then I was messaging you, and you are not only on the ball, but you said, here are different ways that you can promote yourself when you're doing a chat with me. I'm like, oh my God, it is amazing. It is just so nice to work with people that have that same do it mentality. Yeah. It was so refreshing. Everyone's great, but I'm like, this is how I think all the time, and this is what she's doing, and I love this so much. Like,
it's just how my brain works. I feel sometimes on my profile, instead of having to announce everything, sometimes I should just post it. But my brain works in a marketing perspective from being in business for so long that I feel I need to give everybody a heads up of everything I'm doing before I do it. And that's not necessarily the case with social media. You can totally walk past this video. It's totally fine. Yeah, so
doesn't want to go viral just yet. Not ready. I understand. Don't worry. We'll do a separate one. I love the sneak by. Hey, Alan.
That's Lucas.
Hi, Lucas. Oh, yeah, I was saying hi to Alan. Oh, yeah, you can't see the comments. It's a fellow Second City Conservatory performer. Yes.
Yeah, so like I'm starting. I just said like again. I give up. This video just.
Oh no, I know. I'm not. I'm saying about. I'm saying sorry. I'm saying like. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry that I don't care about it.
I'm trying not to say the Like word. I'm doing a new segment series starting hopefully this week, if I get a chance to film it with Tyler around, if he doesn't interrupt me every 2 seconds because he's 4 and he needs attention and I love him. But it's going to be a cake decorating series.
I was going to ask about that. Okay, that's awesome.
Where's the milk pitcher? And I finished my job.
The milk pitcher's on the counter. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. I'm so excited for this.
I was like,
because I didn't even talk about your sugar artist. Oh, what was the certificate? Is that what it is? A certified sugar artist?
Certified sugar artist, yeah.
That is hard work. I watch all these shows and I marvel at that. And also, do you live downtown? Do you live in Toronto?
No, I live in Kitchener.
Okay, so you actually have a space, like a real kitchen?
So my kitchen actually isn't in Kitchener, it's in Wellesley. My parents built a commercial kitchen in their basement for me because out in Wellesley, as long as you have 2 kitchens and the health department approves the kitchen, you can do catering out of your house.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Again, the business person in you. Fascinating. Okay.
So I have a commercial kitchen in their basement that I use that's been approved by the health department. So I use that. So if you look at any of my cake decorating free trainings on my website, you'll see that kitchen in those videos. But yeah, so I took classes and stuff when I turned 20 and started my own business. I took the basic classes first, which were like the ones you take at Michael's, the Wilton courses. And then I actually went for full school for cake decorating at a school in Cambridge that isn't around anymore, unfortunately. But that's where I got my certification. Yeah.
So, okay, I want to ask some, very petty questions. Do you do your nails before making a video?
No.
Okay, because I wonder this, as when I used to work in hospitals, you're not technically supposed to have your nails painted. So I always wondered, would the nail polish get in the food? Has that ever happened? Is that a thing? Okay.
I never have my nails done. Ever. I just got used to not having nail polish, even wearing rings, anything on your hands. You can't even put hand cream on if you're going to be working with fondant because fondant picks up everything. Like it literally picks up everything. If you have any fuzz on your counter, it'll pick up that. If you wash your hands and you go and dry them on a towel, the fuzz that just came off that towel onto your hands will go onto your fondant. So you have to use paper towels. Paper towels for everything. Yeah.
I watched these food shows. Some of these people, rings all over the hands. How are they cooking or baking? I don't understand. Will there be an imprint on? I don't know. I didn't see it, but
they're doing it for TV. So sometimes, but we know as actors, sometimes things for TV aren't really done the way you would do them in real life. Yeah, but from a work standpoint, from actually working with products that are going to be for human consumption, no, I have no rings. I don't put cream on. I have no nail polish. I never have, and that's just been the way it has been for 17 years.
Well, I mean, the Jew in me wonders if you've koshered your kitchen.
Koshered? No.
It's a process. I've heard it's a process.
Yeah, the FDA won't even, like, I can say that my products are, not the FDA, whoever, the food people that approve my kitchen. If I want to say I'm a nut-free bakery, I don't use any nuts in any of my products, right? So technically I'm a nut-free bakery, but I can't, from a legal standpoint, say I'm a nut-free bakery unless there is a nut-free label on every single product right down to my food colorings. So, and any of those things that you're saying, like kosher kitchen, nut-free bakery, gluten-free stuff, we're not allowed to legally certify or 100% say it unless we have the labels and the proof on absolutely every ingredient that we're using.
Does someone come and check that on an annual basis? I have no idea how this works.
The health department does it on a quarterly basis for low.
Oh, wow.
I'm considered low risk, right? Because I'm just doing cakes. I'm not working with meats and stuff. Yeah, low risk stuff. But yeah, so I like to say, like, when I post something, I'm like, it's nut free, but I'm not legally allowed to guarantee it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably better that way from a legal perspective. I'm always thinking legally. I don't know why. This fear of getting sued for some reason. But God forbid if you said it was nut free and there was a nut. Oh.
I have to phrase it. Don't put nuts in my product, but I can't guarantee that they haven't come in contact with nuts in a factory setting, right?
Well, it's like all those little food labels that say made in a store that uses nut. It's nut free, but
it's the same thing with gluten. Like, I can make something gluten free, but I can't guarantee it because I'm making products in the same kitchen that have gluten in them. And that, like, there's a restaurant around here that got in trouble for putting gluten free on their menu because they were making products in the kitchen that had gluten in them, and they had to pull that off. So it's technically gluten free, but you can't guarantee it, right? Because you're making products in the same kitchen. And the same thing would happen with the kosher stuff. The same thing would happen with anything you are trying to guarantee has to be 100% certifiably guaranteed for you to legally, from a standpoint, say it. Otherwise, it has to have a disclaimer. Yeah.
That's like a fun fact. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that I have been technically a nut-free bakery for 10 years because I have so many regular customers that have kids with severe nut allergies. So I'm trying to accommodate them. So I no longer put nuts in them, but I'm not allowed to guarantee it. I've never had any issues with it, but yeah, I can't guarantee it. So it's unfortunate.
So you're going to, when you're doing your series, you're going to film it at your parents' space, that facility you have, or?
Because it's not going to customers, I'm actually going to do it from home. Yeah. So it'll be like an In the Kitchen with Jen series. Yeah.
I love this. Okay, do you attach everything? I love doing with Robyn. So it's like physio with Robyn. Just like, it's always with Robyn. I don't know who else that would be. But I just love adding that at the end. I don't know where I saw it. I don't know why I like it. It's just fun.
I don't know if I do it from wanting to do it from a personal level or more so thinking of it from an SEO level. Like I do my podcast titles into my blog posts, even though it's my blog, I add my name into the blog post, into the excerptions, into anything to do with that for SEO, search engine optimization. Right? Because if you're trying to create a name for yourself as an actor or as a business, the more times your name gets on the internet is the more chances Google's going to pick it up and create a profile for you. So I like adding my name in, but at the same time, I think it's my marketing brain pulling in the fact that I need to put my name in this for it to get found.
That's interesting. I like that.
But I thought it'd be like a fun series. I'm going to be doing Valentine's Day frogs for the first one.
Oh, frogs. That's cool.
Yeah.
That is so different.
I've got some love bug cupcakes planned out for Valentine's Day, and then some Oreo pops for the first 3 videos. So yeah, so those are coming out. And then I was gonna start, I have all these series planned in my head because, again, that's how my brain works. It works in series and business standpoint, and I'm trying to get like more free with the social media, but at the same time I like having series so then I can create I don't know if you've noticed, but Instagram has this like catalog feature now where you can actually pull the different posts and put them into a catalog so people can find all the certain ones for that series. Yeah. So I've been doing that with the coffee chats, and I want to do that with the monologues I'm doing, and I want to do that with the cake series I'm starting now. So, and then people can easily find all that stuff in one thing. It's like a teaching thing or a talk show thing or a monologue thing if they want to be entertained with my silliness. So, yeah.
I love it.
My teenagers.
No, I love it. Like, oh no, that's okay. I was gonna say I never know when to wrap these up, but I feel like we should end this. I just don't know how to do it well. But I love chatting with you. This was so fun, and I love like you're just amazing. You're awesome, and like thank you for doing this. I was so nervous messaging you like I know we've never met, but will you do this? And you're like yeah, like, yay! It's great.
It even worked.
So, and I'm
teenagers.
It did work out. I did. Like we're just professionals. So
we got
but yes, I'm very and you can catch me on a future coffee chat with Jen.
Yeah, she'll be coming on my coffee chat in when
it's March 11th. It's in my calendar, which is on my phone, which I can't access right now.
The video later.
yeah. I will promote it accordingly. But thank you very much for doing this, and have a great day.
You too. Thank you so much for having me.
And nice meeting part of your family. So.
Yeah, and I will see you in a couple weeks.
Sounds good.
Bye, everybody.